Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to season 7 of the Social Work Ranch podcast. I'm your host, Bas Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. This podcast is disclaimer. Let's get this disclaimer out the way. First and foremost, this podcast is not to be used as a substitute for seeking out mental health treatment, is not to be used as a primary therapy tool. This podcast is for education and educational purposes only. If you're in need of help, if you are going through a mental health crisis, please call your local mobile crisis um, team, call 911, go to your nearest ER, or if you're out of the country, whatever's your emergency contact information, your local emergency services in terms of getting help. Seek help is okay, not to be okay, but definitely seek help if need be. So shout out to you all for rocking with the podcast. I appreciate all the love and support. Gracias a todos por su apoyo escuchando este podcast, donde está escuchando, donde está viendo el podcast. Saludos, saludos, saludos a todos. Hope everybody's doing well out there. As I record this episode, 6/30/2023. On the day, I want to talk about the decision by the United States Supreme Court's striking down President Biden's plan for 10K or 20K student loans. This is not the first time I brought up student loans on the podcast. So you could go back and watch or listen to the podcast episodes regarding student loans or what you can do. But wanted to talk about the decisions today that happened. Am I shocked? No. Um, is it frustrating? Hell yes. On many different levels. Number one, and primarily the main, main reason we can't 100% blame these judges, right? Um, Three of them were appointed within the last 4 years under the previous presidential regime. If you are a regular of this podcast, you know I take the Whoopi Goldberg, the View approach, and I mention that man, uh, that man's name on this podcast if I can help it. Call him Agent Orange. I call him 45. You know who I'm talking about, the one, the president before Biden. He appointed a GOP, uh, pushed through real quick these judges, these ultra conservative judges. So Agent Orange has messed up this country, and he's not in so many ways, and continues to mess up the United States uh, by having these judges appointed. For now is a lifetime job, so they there until they retire or they're dead, whichever one comes first. He got his hands. Agent Orange got already blood on his hands. There's so many different reasons. We could go just COVID alone and his lack of leadership during the pandemic. Had he will never be forgiven in my eyes for his mismanagements it's not all his fault, but his mismanagement during Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. So they no way in hell I get any sort of like sympathy for him. And, has he did a couple good things. I'm not in terms of if you're in the stock market, if you're into got a business and your business is kind of thriving, you got a small business. I know many of my fellow peers in the social work um, field have their small businesses, their side hustles, and are killing it in their businesses, and you will see you got some tax breaks, or you should have gotten some tax breaks, and during the Trump years, especially the last couple. Um, that being said, everything else was just drama day in day out. What is he going to do next? Type of thing. Okay, now this decision, and I mentioned on the podcast plenty of times, and will continue to mention, we as social workers are the were and still are, but definitely during COVID, the we out there doing the work. We out there saving lives. Who was really there for us? And we could clearly see by today's ruling, as this recording, um, by the way, season 7, um, I was going to wait a week. I was going to wait like two full weeks to chill and doing stuff regarding my business. By the way, you can follow my business page on Instagram at Bat City Consulting. That's all one word. For updates regarding my business. I'm beginning a whole rebrand on the business. So I've been trying to be busy with that, doing that, and get that ball rolling. And then this comes out. So this episode, I'm going to release it be the first Friday of July. And and everybody that's emailed me, that's DM'd me, I finally got back to people through emails. So the ball's rolling. I'm doing my best to try to get back to everybody. Those who follow me on Twitter at Social Work Rants on Twitter, at DM me, slowly getting back to you. So I appreciate all your patience. I'm a one person show. So back to this decision. So we out here, we killing it. Who's there for us? We there for our clients during COVID, risking our lives. Who's there for us? And we see today, and I understand 10K, even 20K for some of us is only gonna put a small dent in the amount of money that some of us may owe in student loans. Somebody like me, 10K, 20K would have made a huge difference. Um, and now the 10K, 20K is not happening. For me, would have been possibly 20K. It is not happening now. The certain amount of money that I owe is going to be the lump sum. So I want people to go to Yahoo Finance or pay attention to the news. President Biden came out with a plan um, hours after the decision on Friday night on the 30th. I first saw it on Yahoo Finance. If you go on their website, it details some of the plan that Biden wants to do. The what, and we talked. And if you listen to the last podcast episode, I talked about the law that is in place. Uh, it was a 1965 act that Biden with basically with the stroke of the pen could wipe off or try to wipe off these student loans. Why he never did that from the beginning, I don't know. Um, Whatever he's trying to do, he's seeking re-election, so he's going to be asking for your votes. I've been on the record on this podcast stating that if he don't get this done, any sort of forgiveness, he's not winning. And I'm gonna go on record one more time, and say if he don't get something done by the time by the time November 2024 comes, he's not winning. The student loans is gonna make or break the president. This is my hot take. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I make some hot takes on Twitter. So this is my hot take. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on all audio platforms. The podcast been heard in over 60 something countries. Anybody on YouTube could watch it all over the world. So if you don't get something done with these student loans, he is not winning. Gonna be crazy ass DeSantis. Who knows who somebody else might be running between now and then. There's like 1,001 Republicans seem like running. And this country is crazy enough that 45, who was indicted, he could be rotting under the jail and be president of the United States. Make it happen. You'll be rotting underneath the jail and running the country in the short term. So just be on the lookout for that. So what happened today with this decision is really a slap in the face for us, social workers, mental health professionals, or just people with student loans in general, because there's plenty police officers, firefighters, nurses, teachers, doctors, people working Walmart, whatever, went to school and got student loans, and like 10K, 20K make a huge difference. I made a post about it, like this money that could have been used to like start investing in the stock market for the first time. It could be like paying down their mortgage or help with their rent or just have a extra on their rainy day account in their bank account. There's a whole bunch of different things you've been saving up for your first vacation that you haven't taken in years. Use that money for anything. This extra money. Now you gotta start planning and start budgeting. Now I gotta make a payment with these student loans on top of everything else I got. Rent is sky high. Still a recession. We in inflation, and food is expensive, and gas keep fluctuating, go up and down. Don't know what to do. Like it's a lot. Living in America is it's a lot. So living in America is dramatic right now, and it's been dramatic even before COVID for many of us. So it's 10K, 20K, and this been a terrible week in America. Affirmative action got taken away, and you can now just on the last day of Gay Pride Month, decision was Supreme Court made a decision that you could discriminate against the LGBTQ community for someone who has a business refused to do a website or whatever exactly it was for a gay couple, and it got ruled in the business person's favor. So Supreme Court just L like that Floyd Mayweather gift that he throws money in the air like this, like talking, making it rain. L's this whole week. So living in America has been dramatic this week. Another week. When will it stop? When will it end? Lord knows. For us in the profession, we gotta keep fighting, fight the good fight. Um, I, I see NASW making statements, continue to fight, good fight. See people, you know, upset of everything that's been happening this week. So, and then today, and a lot of us are not really surprised by the decision of the student loans, but it definitely hurts, man, because well, the good news, good news. Straight perspective, there is some good news. So, um, the student loans, you are going to get some credit towards your student loans up to 3 years, 36 months, basically from the pause, the whole time these student loans were paused. Supposedly there's some relief coming, so you will get like basically like a credit of up to 36 months that will add if you under the PSLF. Um, if you're under the student loan forgiveness program, you could get up to 36 months towards your forgiveness. So that cuts 3 years off the amount of money you would owe, up to 3 years. So is something? Is it the whole thing? Like, want to be completely student loan debt free. Everybody want that. Um, like Tupac said, the great Tupac Amaru Shakur, the greatest rapper of all time, the greatest rapper of all time. He said it best. They got money for war, but can't feed the poor, quote unquote. And they got money for this, they got money for that, give this country, this, that, all the lobbyists, NRA, getting they cut, this, that. These student loans would have been paid by the government a long time ago. And shout out to all the countries and be like, student loans, okay, so what's that? We don't gotta deal with that nonsense. So, because college is free. But here in America, Ted DiBiase, the 80s wrestlers, like everybody got a price. So everything costs money in America. So, unfortunately, sometimes a person's life costs some money somehow, some way. Because even when you die, when the funeral expenses are expensive, it's annoying. It's frustrating. Uh, I was kind of now for PSLF, some more good news. All right. If you haven't applied and you work in nonprofit, you're a social worker, you work in these nonprofit agencies, and you never applied for PSLF, you can still apply for PSLF. Go to studentaid.gov, download the PSLF form, or PDF it, print it out, fill out like the first page, and send it out to your employer. If you're a job hopper like me, hopefully that employer is still in business, is still around, and you can send it to them, and hopefully they'll respond to you and send it back. If they don't, there's a X button. I did a whole episode on how to do this, but they're on page 2. They're like, I can't basically, in other words, you can't contact the employer, but you worked at this agency for this amount of time. Hit the X, make sure you sign it, and you mail it. Mail the form. I would mail the form, old school, mail the form, and also upload it onto the website. Um, so it might look like uh, whatever your service provider is, and it might look like 2 different applications. So it might take more time for your application to go through, but cover your bases. Apply. You just graduated. You started working at a job. No, apply. I still got at my job. I just sent an email to HR like hey, who do I send this PSLF form because I need to get these. I found out through my service provider I could get credit by working here. So um, get it done. Apply for this PSLF. If you work in a nonprofit, you worked at a school, um, police officers, firefighters should, I would double check, but you should be eligible. You could be eligible, at least try, because PSLF, then they're not touching that. So the student loan decision by Supreme Court had nothing to do with PSLF. It had to do with forgiveness of the 10K, the 20K that Biden was administration was trying to do. So um, your best way to get forgiven right now is through PS, Public Student Loan Forgiveness, the PSLF, and President Biden is trying to make it more the payments more affordable. So I said Yahoo Finance would be. That's how I looked it up. It will be probably be on the news. People will be talking, probably gonna be talking about it. It'll be on the news. So just do your research. Be on top of it. Now my job here is to advocate for you, let you know what's going on. I guess this is an educational podcast. Some entertainment too, but I do doing as what I do under our code of ethics to give back to the profession. Um, and I'm not bragging about it, and my tone might be like I'm bragging, like it's my way to get back to the profession, but really is my version of giving back to the profession, letting you know what to do, help you guys out. Um, Whether you're an audio person listening to the podcast or you're visual, you're watching the video on YouTube. So um, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. If you want to get on the podcast, definitely email me, Bass City Entertainment LLC at gmail.com. Like I said, for those people, I think I emailed almost everybody back, finally sending updates. Um, People on Twitter, I get back to, I will get back to you. Uh, and we're going to go from there. We're going to rock and roll. Season 7 is coming. Thank you for rocking. Thank you for supporting. Keep following the podcast on Instagram at the Social Work Rants Podcast, all one word. On the Facebook page, on Twitter, and we gonna rock. We're gonna roll, and we gonna get back to the professions only we can. So, sad week in America, but it's been sad living here. So, and for a long time, and for many of us for years, and for some people, generations has been sad living in America. So, on that note, like Tupac Shakur said, keep your head up. Until next time, peace, y'all.